Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Adeoluwa, and today I want to talk about this. There's this thing going on right now on YouTube where influencers. I don't think it's just on YouTube actually. I think it's generally speaking, but now we can now watch or listen to people actually talk about it on YouTube. And what's that? It's men not wanting to success men who already like have enough money on them. Because if a man doesn't have enough money on him, he would not go for a girl that is much younger than himself, that can hardly feed herself, right? Or that doesn't have enough to, give out. So usually the men who go for very young women are men who are financially stable. Now, understand that not all financially stable men, or black men as it were, because that's the focus, black men, not all financially stable black men will go for women who are much younger. When I say much younger, I mean someone who is just barely legal, 18 to about 25. 25 is stretching it actually, because they go below 25. If for as far as I'm concerned, I think that they could actually go for a 15 or 16-year-old, except it's against the law. So that's why I mentioned barely legal, legal enough to not be sued for pedophilia, right? So they go for younger women. And there's this lady that has been talking about how Kevin Daniels or Kevin Samuels, forgive me, I'm sorry, Kevin Samuels. How Kevin Samuels' advice has been working for her, has worked for her, and she seems to be flaunting her diamond ring, or I don't know what heck. I don't know whether it's diamond ring, but ring is blinging. She seems to be, yeah, that she's now engaged to a man who is a what they call them these days high valued man, right? So she's engaged to this guy, and this guy is in his 30s and she is 23. I didn't know she was 23. I thought maybe she was 25. I knew she looked young, so I thought maybe she was 25, 26, but 23. I'm like, 23. Now, she sounds matured, well read, like she knows what she wants. But I remember myself at 16. I knew what I wanted at 16. I was matured for a 16-year-old. I knew how to identify a player as a 16-year-old. So I couldn't easily be played as a 16-year-old. But when it comes to life mission and life purpose, things have changed. Circumstances beyond my control happened and things changed. And what I felt I could do to achieve some certain things didn't work out. I had to change route. What do I mean? Now, she is talking about if you want a certain kind of man, this is how you should be. I hear her and I hear the sense in what she's saying. But let me tell you, it does not, that what she's saying does not apply in situations that change. And situation changes all the time. So at the end of the day, you don't make decisions based on how you look. You don't make decisions based on what you can do, because that can change. People have fallen sick and that has changed everything for them. Everything. I remember I was ill. I used to think like her. That's the funny thing. At the age of 17, at the age of 16 and 17, I was thinking like she was thinking. So watching a 23-year-old talk like she was talking reminded me of my 16-year-old self. At 17, I was definitely ready to be in a serious relationship because I felt what was there to know again. You understand? I was willing to learn, but at the same time, I felt I knew what there was, and I was, I was willing to learn, right? What it takes to actually be a wife. I thought I was ready, and then life happened. I fell ill, and frankly speaking, I don't know many men. Not that I was up and about anyway for me to find out, but I asked myself, how many men would actually be with a woman who is not 100% healthy, who is sick, who is on medications, and all of that? How many? How many would be with someone who dropped out of school? At the end of the day, I had to reevaluate my value, not based on what I had, not based on what I could become or what I have become or what I know, but based on who I am. Who I am doesn't change. I was a nice person then. Okay, sometimes I say I'm not that nice, Sometimes I say I'm not that nice, but I'm a kind person. I would like to think I'm kind. I don't go out of my way. Okay, let's put it this way. I don't go out of my way to hurt people. I don't go out of my way to hurt people. I try to treat people the way I want to be treated. I know how I want to be treated, so I treat people that way. What has changed from back then till now is that I'm not going to let anyone treat me the way I would not treat other people. So that's what has changed over time. Before, I used to assume that automatically if I treat people kindly, I will be treated kindly. But it doesn't happen that way. You treat people kindly, the same set of people you treat kindly will come back and treat you worse than trash. So I realized that, look, it's either you stand up for yourself and say, no, I draw the line to that. I will not be treated in that way. I will not be treated in that manner. Or you just let yourself be walked all over. Like Charles Orlando once said, he said, if you don't want to be a doormat, get off the floor. So at some point, I got off the floor. So back to the 23-year-old who said Kevin Samuels' advice worked for her. I'm happy for her because she wanted to get married. And I remember at 17, I was so ready to get married. Now, I am glad that didn't happen at that time because things have changed. I'm still the same person, but the problem with that is that how do I know? Because I could easily find myself in a relationship with someone who is with me based on what I can deliver, based on what I can give him. So that I'm a kind person, nice person, good heart, try to think good at all times kind of person would not mean anything. The moment situation changes and is not getting the kind of what he wants from me, whatever that might be, he will get tired and leave. So at the end of the day, I made up my mind that I was going to, because of this way things change, I made up my mind I was just going to be myself. Yes, I'm going to improve on what I can do. I'm going to maximize my potentials, please. Because I heard that, I didn't watch her video completely because, please. I heard that she was actually trying to apply into law school, but she left that off the moment she got engaged. No, I understand you leaving that off when you get married or when you start having children. But when you get engaged, whatever for, would you leave unless you were bored? You didn't have anything else to do with your time and law school was there or whatever was available, and you joined out of, let me just keep my mind busy. And then what you really want comes along, and then you leave that behind. Although, frankly speaking, I believe, and that's how my father raised me, a man, no. Before somebody says he's a woman giving another woman advice, which I would actually touch on soon enough. Now, my father taught me that anything worth doing at all is worth doing well. So, for me, leaving something unfinished is not doing it well, as my father taught me. So if you had started something, why would you leave it for something new coming along? Is that how you intend to run your marriage? I don't know. She seems to know what she wants, but at 23, believe me, I'm telling you, I was that girl. Like, I remember when she was talking, I remembered my 17-year-old. Like, this is what I thought. I thought if you are on your A game, you're not trying to compete with a man. Look, if he's the right man, that might work with him. But if he's the wrong kind of man, it doesn't matter what you do. Because that is the number one mistake that a lot of women make. Especially those that had not been hit by life. They feel that other women did it wrong. And that is why it's happening wrong for them. That's not the case. For all you know, they were better than you. If it's working out for you, just be grateful and thank God. Yes, God. It has little or nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with God and the man you're with. If the man you're with does not want to be kept, you can follow Kevin Samuels or whoever else advice from today till tomorrow. It will not work. The only way it will work is if he is willing to keep his marriage, and you're willing to keep your marriage with him, and he's willing to keep his marriage with you. He's committed. The level of commitment you have to that marriage is equal. Like his is even more than yours. He wants to be faithful with you. He wants to keep his vows. It's as simple as that, really. Because if a man is keeping his vows, we won't be having divorce. At least not that much. So she has the answers, but it would amount to nothing if she ends up with the wrong man. And I fear for her, really, because it's not enough that you know what to do. You have to figure the other person out to make sure that you're not unequally yoked. The Bible says, can two walk together except they agree? So she might have the answers, but is the answer the same as what the man has in mind? Because he is the one who is going to be leading. He is the one who is the foundation of the relationship. And if the foundation is faulty, if the foundation is fickle, if the foundation is not firm, whatever you build on it, on that foundation as a woman, what I'm telling you now, I learned it later, not by personal experience. Thank you very much. I learned from actually listening to other people's experiences. People who did all the things I planned to do, thinking that would keep a man. They did all of that, and yet it did not work. And of course, for those who it worked for, they felt that they were doing something special for it to work. Maybe you are, but it just so happens that you're doing something special for a man who is special, who appreciates it and wants to stay with you. So everything else you're doing is just the icing on the cake for him. He's already decided to stay. That's on one side. On the other hand, I was watching someone's reaction. I can't believe I'm reacting to reactions. But I was watching someone's reaction and to her video, and she was saying something that rang a bell. She said all the things that she's saying are what other female YouTubers have been saying, other female social influencers have been saying. And I realized, wait a minute. Why is it that when women give advice, other women don't take it, but when a man says the same thing, it seems to make more sense? Do we think that I think some of us have this thing that we cannot take advice from a woman to get a man or to keep a man or whatever. And I'm thinking, people don't understand how wisdom works. Anybody can be inspired to give you an advice. It's not they're not speaking from experience. They don't have to speak from experience. It's inspiration. Believe you me, I say things sometimes that I'm like, wait a minute, I need to write that down. I'll be giving advice and I need that advice. Probably I need that advice more than you do. Do you understand? So when people give advice, it's not necessarily because they've perfected it or that's what they practice. They're saying it because there is divine inspiration sometimes in when people talk. It doesn't mean they are divine, but sometimes you can hear. And the funny thing is that she recommended a book that was written by a woman. But apparently, it made more sense to her when she had a man say it. So at the end of the day, I wonder, whose advice is she really taking? But does it really matter? For me, I think she should wait. I'm happy for her that she has a man in her life now and she has something to look forward to maritally and all of that. That's wonderful. But if you have to give up something you're good at just so that you can get married, then you need to think. You really need to think. Because I know women, at least one woman I know, she has several degrees. And as we speak, I think she's still earning them degrees. She's married with a son. She has foundations that she is personally funding. Do you understand what I am saying? To fund one foundation is a lot of money. To fund 3, 4 foundations is a lot of work. Why is she so driven, you ask? She's ill. She has a sickness that I don't know what that is, but it's been, according to her, she's had that sickness since she was a child. And they are not sure how long she's going to live. So every day for her is a gift. See, that's the thing. Your perspective about life changes when you don't know how long you have to live on earth. She says something that really, really made me understand why she's so driven and she's so into a lot of things that 50 healthy women put together can't even do. And she's done it all and she's doing more. She's into several businesses. And she said something. She said if she decides not to work again, she will live comfortably for the rest of her life. Comfortably. But she can't afford to do that because she has a heart to help people. And so she needs money to fund her errand of mercy, if you may. And that is how she got into businesses. She funds. Do you understand what I am saying? Now, for a woman who just wants to get married and all of that, she would think that is competing with a man, or you don't have to do all of that, or you just have to sit back and be cared for well. You can say that when you think that you have 50 years more, 100 years more to live. But when someone knows that she might not see the next day, and that if she does sees it, whoa, hallelujah, glory be to God. There are just some, you just want to give your all, what you can. You want to leave your mark. At that time, you begin, all the things you wanted to do will become possible. Because now it's different. It's different. You can't just cherry pick and say, this is the part of myself I want to have. I don't want to maximize my potentials. I don't want to, if I can be a lawyer, if I can be a doctor, I don't want to pursue that. I just want a husband and children and family. Who says you can't have all of that? The Proverbs 31 woman was a businesswoman. She had a husband, she had domestic staff. She had children. Granted, she may not have achieved everything at the same time, but she was not a limited woman. That was for sure. The Proverbs 31 woman was a woman who was into everything. What that means is that maximize your potentials as a woman. Don't give up your dreams, your abilities, and your capabilities because you want to have a husband and children and you want to have a family. The woman I just spoke to you about, she's an inspiration to me because she's ill and she got married. Yes, her husband knows that she's not very well. Like her health is, has health challenges. Her husband knows. In fact, according to her husband, is one of her doctors. Was one of her doctors and is still her doctor. And she said something one day that really touched me. She said, if not for her husband, she's not sure she will still be alive today. Because now she has someone who fights for her life. Who fights that as long as he's here, he's going to do everything in his power to make sure that this woman lives long. Why would you give up a man who will be with you in sickness and in health? And all of that. Why would you give that up? Just to be with any man, any high-valued man. If you don't maximize your potential, how would you know who is with you for you? You know, there are some things you will never know if you don't find what your purpose is in life. And no, your purpose is not necessarily what you want to do with your life. Your purpose is the reason why you are created. And you can only know that by knowing God. Not the universe, please. I'm not into... I worship the creator, not the creation. Yeah. So you need to know God. You need to know who God is. You need to know Jesus. Because that's the only way you can know God, through Christ. And then your purpose will begin to unfold to you little by little. Little by little. By the time you find what your purpose is, everything else will not be important. Everything else will not be important. But you have everything else according to God's will. However, you're not going to have to give up your purpose. No. But what you acquire, the husband you have, the children you have, the family you have, will be an asset to you, not a liability. You won't have to leave what you're doing for them. You might have to slow down a bit, although frankly speaking, maybe not. And by the way, the lady, the madam I just talked about, she's a black woman and she's married to a black man. And no, she didn't have to hang her degrees on the wall or give up her career or her foundations or her businesses. In fact, she's getting into more businesses. She's doing more things. It's like when she got married, she became more. As if now she now has someone to rest on. And that gives her the leverage to be more productive as a person. That doesn't stop her from being a wife. That woman can cook. She can cook. I mean, I see the spread she makes is a buffet, and I'm like, hey, how do you do this? She has doctorate degrees. I'm surprised she's not a professor yet. She has doctorate degrees. She's a medical doctor, a surgeon, a gynecologist, an OBGYN, a psychologist, a psychotherapy. Please. But if I sit down here and start counting her credentials, we won't live here. And she has a child now. She's a great mother to her child. I can see that. What I'm saying is that do not cut yourself off from your abilities just so you can get a man and you can get a family. You can have it all. Your motive shouldn't be to compete with men or anything. Your aim is that if you are able to do something and you have the opportunity to do it, don't throw it away. Don't throw it away. Everything we can do can be used for good. It's meant to be used for good. It's not just for ourselves. Because at the end of the day, when you just say you just want a husband and children, then I wonder, what is your contribution to the world? Children? That's a good thing. But you see, your children will be productive. But what about you? What is your daughter supposed to? What exactly is it about your life that will inspire your daughter? Or what? You want to raise a daughter who would also want to just have a husband and children? Really? If you don't have the ability to be more and do more, okay, fine, no problem. This is not about a competition. It's just you being an asset to humanity. Every one of us, we're a solution to a problem in this world. You have to find what that problem is. And how you have to find the problem that you are meant and created to be its solution. Does that make sense? You are a solution. You weren't just born. You understand? God was not so bored that he just said, go into the world, bye. No, you were crafted for a reason and a purpose, for a solution to a problem. You are a solution. What are you meant to solve? What problem are you meant to solve in the world? What problem am I meant to solve in the world? You need to find that out before you think about trying to get married. Because when you get married, it might be too late. You might be married to a man who cannot handle your purpose, who cannot handle the fact that you have a purpose, then what are you going to do then? Let the problem fester? As long as you have your husband and your children, you just let the problem fester? You have to explain to God what you did with your talents. You know, the Bible talks a lot about the talent, right? Those who had 1 talent, the one who had 2, the one who had 5. Are you burying your talent? Because one buried his. He buried his, said, and the master came and said, you could have invested this thing and it would have yielded more profits. We are all supposed to trade with our talent, not bury it so that we can get married. I don't get what this is about. Don't bury your talent. Because look, on Judgment Day, all those people telling you that there is no God, they will not be able to save you. Do you understand? You have to explain to someone who molded you into the person you are right now. So much so that your thumbprint is uniquely yours. Your character is uniquely yours. You are a different personality from your parents. You have to explain to that God what you did with your talents. What are you going to say? Well, I had to put them aside because I just wanted a husband and a family. Really? Really? He has his destiny. You have yours, and so does your children. Let everyone pursue their own destiny. Don't use family and husband as an excuse not to work on your purpose. It will not be an excuse. How would you feel if people are dying as we speak because you have not become that solution you are created to be? How would you feel? Because all of that will play out in front of each and every one of us. We will all see how we did not maximize our potentials and it affected people's lives negatively. You all see it. If 1 million people or 100 people are attached to you finding your talent and trading with your talent, their life literally depends on it. But you shelved that because you wanted to get married. You will answer for those people that you did not manifest so that they will manifest. If one person, that is how God created the world. One person has to manifest for some other people to manifest. And only God knows how your manifestation will happen. So you need to attach yourself to God first. The first thing you need is the presence of God, not the presence of a man. And that goes both ways. A man needs God's presence first, not the presence of a woman, not family. He needs God first. We have to go to the beginning, like Dr. Miles Monroe of blessed memory will say. In the beginning, Adam was in the presence of God. He had a job. He had a purpose. He was taking care of the garden. He was naming the animals. He was naming the plants. And whatever he named it, that was what it was. He had something doing before God brought him a woman. And he named her woman, by the way. Don't put the horse in front of a cart, in front of the carriage, or behind the carriage rather. Don't put the horse behind the carriage. Don't. God comes first, then your purpose, then every other thing then follows. As I'm talking to you, I'm talking to myself. I don't have it all worked out myself. I'm working on it. But at least I know something to work towards. I hope young girls will see this, young women will see this, or anybody will see this and know that God is the ultimate. After that, your purpose in life. Because without God and without a purpose, you can have the money, you can have the fame, you can have the family, you can have the spouse, but something will always be missing. Something will always be missing. All right. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep God first, please. Shalom.